There is a fight happening in China right now over a 4-leaf petal flower between LV Molity, a random trader, and the IP agency. The more I watched it, the less it is about the flower, I think. I wonder how in China, a country whose entire modern economy was built on manufacturing and trading, the country that basically runs the world's biggest trademark system, a chunk of its internet right now arguing against the most basic principle of that exact system. Since when does registrating a trademark mean that the brand is claiming I invented this shape? When a brand opens a product line, it's common practice to register a trademark. It couldn't just trademark its name, just like Michael Jordan couldn't trademark Jordan or Michael. It had to trademark, for example, the Jumpman. That one flying silhouette, and then billions of dollars invested in it. He didn't own the man. He owned the meaning and the association that he built into that shape with his money and his spirit. And then I noticed the conversation was actually fueled by the heavy hitters. People's Daily ran a commentary saying heritage-based trademarks should get narrower protection. The Supreme Procurator's own paper, Procurator's Daily, literally published a piece titled "The Thousand Years Baoxiang Flower, Why is it reverse harvested by LV?" And then Supreme's People Court reposted it. As a marketer in the premium segment with more than 10 years of experience, who had to leave that world because more and more brands kept crowding into that segment while playing on survival mode, I have been following this case for weeks and I'm still weighing on what to think about it. At the beginning, I thought I could just explain the basis of IP law, that it protects distinctiveness through acquired use, or 经过使用取得像这特征. That LV filed this trademark back in the 90s and since then had poured, I don't know, maybe billions of dollars into that motif. Money for collection, design, showcasing, advertising, community building. Especially to me, especially community building. When people take the motif, style it, remix it, make it mean status, make it mean taste, contributing back to the motif and back to the culture itself. That's the real thing a premium brand offers. Originality, a point of view, real creative effort, not leather, not flowers, or definitely not just bags. Then I found out how this whole thing started. And it started because a conventional legal action between a brand, an individual garment trader in Guangdong, and CNIPA, which dated back to 2023. I thought, okay, so maybe I could go on and explain that, and then there will not be confusion anymore. But then I thought, why is something so normal, rightful legal action, a boring procedure, suddenly conveniently making the headline? LV is suing the Chinese government in 2026 and being driven into a cultural war backed by heavy hitters. Why does a portion of the internet and then official press suddenly decide that the real crime is that a foreigner stole Chinese pattern and conveniently forget what a trademark registration even is and what it protects? It leads me to thinking this whole thing is a setup when an individual whose company will shut down but go on file 100 trademarks is just the one triggering the conversation, paving the air for this culture war. And in that air, in 2022, there was Changji, a tea brand whose packaging everyone said looked like Dior book taught, but Dior never sued. In the end, there's Molly Tea, who tried to register this 4-leaf motif, got refused over and over, decided to use it anyway, and got sued by LV, fined 10.3 million yuan, and keeps appealing. Why they do that? In the air, there is a jeweler, Chow Tai Fook, who opened a pop-up called Wanxiang, Tang Dynasty Baoxing Flowers, floor to ceilings inside Kran Gate 66 in Shanghai, less than 15 meters from LV's own store, directly facing it, running from, I think, July 1st to 20-something. The same time this whole thing started. In the air, the government offices and their publications surface the narrative. Heritage cannot be privatized, so the protection should be rolled back. So suddenly after last night's sleep, I realized maybe, just maybe, it is not about getting the motive or contributing to culture. Because China has thousands of such motifs, there are plenty to be inspired from. Maybe the purpose is just to sabotage a well-known international brand. I don't know, that thought sounds very far-fetched or outright delusional to me. But I know the questions I generally ask at the bottom of my heart as a passionate marketer are: 1. If LV hadn't doubled down on the flower for centuries, hadn't poured in the money, hadn't built the community where people express their own style through the motif, hadn't associated an oriental heritage pattern with this trailblazing, break the rules feeling, would the whole world even know about it? Would we be fighting over it? The heritage was sitting there for 1,000 years. It went global when someone spent 100 years making it mean something solid, not random or scattered. 2. If the heritage claim is really the point, then why that exact motif? Why that exact layout? Why some register the same category of products? Why some show up 15 meters from their door in the same kind of mall, feeding off the association that LV has built? 3. The big one. If China's own trademark office walks back this protection, does that mean that the country is denying the role of an active cultural contributor, the one that took the pattern global in the name of some unknown original creator? And that assuming LV inspiration was drawn from a motif created and only ever used in China, which may not be true, but again, that's a whole other video. I'm not gonna mention about it here. So, to put this to an end, I would say, if I were brand manager at LV, I would not be scared that some other brand using this motif could compete with me at my level, but I'll be freaked out of the exact opposite, and that they can't, that the flowers will be used so widely, it becomes so generic that it won't belong to Moli alone or Chow Tai Fook alone, but it could also belong to any individual trader whose company got shut down but decided to file anyway in case someday they want to use something similar on something I don't even know. That's the cultural heritage that was once premium quietly loses the soul that make it so in the first place. And that again leads me back to my illusion that this whole thing wasn't about the flower. It's definitely not about culture. It must be about something else. What do you think?